My prop song.
He that the sun set free is free indeed. Freedom, saith the Lord. Freedom, singing my freedom. Oh, freedom, saith the Lord. Help me out there, freedom. I'm singing my freedom. Oh, freedom, saith the Lord. Jesus was born in Bethlehem. He had a manger for a crib.
Tears in our eyes when we join together to sing it, but we still decided to sing it. We shall overcome. No, before this victory is won, some will have to get thrown in jail some more, but we shall overcome. Don't worry about us. Before the victory is won, some of us will lose jobs, but we shall overcome. Before the victory is won, even some will have to face physical death. Physical death is the price that some must pay to free their children from a permanent psychological death. Then nothing shall be more redemptive. We shall overcome. Before the victory is won, some will be misunderstood and called bad names and dismissed as rabble-rousers and agitators. But we shall overcome. And I'll tell you why. We shall overcome because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. We shall overcome because Carlyle is right. No lie can live forever. We shall overcome because William Cullen Bryant is right. Truth crushed to earth will rise again. We shall overcome because James Russell Lord is right. Truth forever on the scaffold, wrong forever on the throne. Yet that scaffold sways the future. Behind the dim unknown standeth God within the shadow, keeping watch above his own. We shall overcome because the Bible is right. You shall reap what you sow. We shall overcome. Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome. With this faith, we will go out and adjourn the councils of despair. Bring new light into the dark chambers of pessimism. We will be able to rise from the fatigue of despair to the buoyancy of hope. And this will be a great America. We will be the participants in making it so. And so as I leave you this evening, I say, walk together, children. Don't you get weary. There's a great camp meeting in the palace.
Freedom. Freedom, saith the Lord. And of course, we had the overlay with Dr. King in, talking about the price of freedom and what sometimes you have to suffer through in order to receive the blessings of God. I want to thank you for tuning in tonight to another Grant Brothers Bluff City Report. I'm Greg Grant. I'm your host, and I'd like to introduce to you at this time the co-host of this show, my brother, Alonzo Grant.
How you doing, Greg?
Hey,
Good
how are
to
you?
see you once again.
I'm good, I'm good.
All right.
We've got a lot to talk about tonight in terms of this city, our nation, and some of the things that are going on right here in our presence. You know, last week we had a young man on talking about some of the difficulties in life and how he overcame and what he had to do in order to get his life back on track.
Right.
I believe that those same circumstances exist for any number of hundreds, if not thousands of young people that are faced with the same problem. We're in the month of February. This is Black History Month. And you may notice that we have a more casual look tonight.
Right.
And I'm going to turn it over to my brother at this time so he can tell you how this look came to be.
Well, as you know, it is February, and February is Black History Month. And we thought it would be fitting if we honored some of our black heroes. And I was at the Civil Rights Museum just the other day, and I saw the jackets, and I said, those would be absolutely great to go on the television show with. And also, I'd like to say, if you get an opportunity, and if you haven't gone to the Civil Rights Museum, this month would be a great time to go. It is just beautiful down there. They spent about $25 million in the last couple of years renovating it, and it's just beautiful. And you would really be proud once you would go and see all the things and the history about our famous and beloved leader, Dr. King.
Because in our opinion, if you don't know your history,
You're doomed to repeat it.
and that's what we don't have time to do,
Exactly.
is to repeat something that we've already gone through. We want to acknowledge Tamara's Production Television Network. We're proud to be a part of this network. Tamara is doing some great things in the city of Memphis. She's a fine young lady. You see her on a weekly basis.
Yes.
What do you think about Tamara?
I think Tamara is a great producer of the television show. She's a real nice person. She greets us weekly with just nothing but praise and just a great outlook on what we're doing with her. And I think she's just an outstanding person to work with.
And I think her network on Comcast 31 is one of the best programs that's going. So if any of you have an idea, if you have a church and you want to put your church on TV, she is the best person to call. She'll treat you right and give you some great rates, and your church can be heard from all across the city.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's talk about Donald Trump for a minute.
Well, before we talk about Trump, I'd like to get a plug in for the Black History Program.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
We can't omit that. I think that's first and foremost before Trump.
Okay, well we have our citywide Black History Program. This is something we do on an annual basis. This year the program is going to take place at the Faith Temple Church Ministries. That's at 5191 Elvis Presley Boulevard, where Pastor Ivory Jackson is your senior pastor and doing an outstanding job. Last year we had our program at the National Civil Rights Museum. The accommodations got a little too small because we had so many people.
Right.
And so we had to move to a larger facility. And this church was fine enough, good enough, and gracious enough to accept us and bring us down where we can have our Black History Program at the church. And we're so excited about it. It's coming up February the 19th at 3:00 p.m.
Correct.
And of course, the Faith Temple Church is not a stranger to the city. Ministry, probably more than 45 years.
Exactly.
Right here in the city of Memphis, and we want you to come. And a few weeks ago, we talked about that mentorship program.
We did.
Where we're encouraging 500 black men
Yes.
to meet us on Black History Day. We're going to have a message for those men who are willing to be mentors. If you have children of your own, I want you to bring your children to the church for the program, and you will enjoy what we're going to put forth. And we'll have a message especially for those individuals who are going to join us as mentors, as we're going to be busy all 2017. Well, we're going to do the mentorship program, and where we can put these young people under our wings. I don't think we're just limited to boys. We're going to expand to girls as well.
Absolutely.
Because they need the same guidance and participation as young men. You know, for a long time I did the debutante's presentation for my fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi. I did the debutante's presentation for at least 4 years. And I got to understand how young women think, and we had the older women, the silhouettes of the brothers, to help with training of the young girls. And from start to finish, taking in a rough girl, and at the end of the period of time, she comes out all refined, and we present that particular young person to society. We want to do that for the young men, want to do it for the young women, and the parents who may have a troubled child. and you may not know what to do with that child, you can always give us a call. I'm going to let my brother give his number because he answers more often than I do.
My number is 901-864-0485. Once again, 901-864-0485.
And also on the heels of that, we are interested in putting together a homeless program.
Exactly.
And that could be one of the things that we're going to be dealing with as we deal with our mentors, whereas we will not forget about the homeless. And as you can recall, you're the one who brought the homeless project to the table.
Right, and as we speak, we haven't forgotten about the homeless project, and we are working on a project. In fact, we're working on a building, and I don't want to disclose where it is because I want to make sure that we get the building.
Absolutely.
So we have that on the front burner for the homeless shelter, and I know it's going to work.
Well, the governor of the state of Tennessee is going to be here next month on the 4th, and he has launched a statewide homeless program that we're going to try to tap into. We've talked to our area state representatives who are very excited about it. Ramesh Agberry and Joe Towns, Barbara Cooper, and some of the others are going to be working with us with the homeless shelter project. We don't want to forget those who have been forgotten.
Exactly. Also, I'd like to mention, in mentioning the governor, as you know, well, a lot of you may not know, but the governor instituted, a couple of years ago, where you could go to college.
Oh, yeah.
For 2 free years. You want to talk about
Yeah,
that?
yeah, absolutely. Any graduate in the city of Memphis and Shelby County from any of our local high schools, the state now pays for at least 2 years of education at our area junior colleges at no cost to the family. Now, the proper name for the scholarship, I don't know at this time, but if you are a graduate in the city of Memphis, then you are entitled to go to college for 2 years and get an associate degree. That's 2 years,
2 years
worth of college education, which puts you in the position to take on some of the professions in the city of Memphis in terms of being a firefighter, in terms of being a police officer, EMT, emergency vehicle operators. You can start your career at an early age. When you graduate from high school, you're like 18, some
Yes.
kids 19 years old. At 20 or 21, you come out with a degree. At that point, if you wanted to pursue a 4-year college degree, then you're set to go to the University of Memphis or Lemoyne College or Christian Brothers College with your junior degree in hand. 2 years, free by the state of Tennessee. It doesn't get any better than that.
It does not, and you have to look at it prospectively. You're going to probably save anywhere from $50,000 to $60,000.
No doubt.
On a deal like that.
Yeah.
That you won't have to come out of your pocket.
Absolutely.
With. And I think some of the requirements are really basic.
Mm-hmm.
Because my son is in the program
Who's
already.
up? Really?
He's in the program. As soon as he graduates, he's going off to Southwest for 2 years free. And I think two of the requirements is you have to put in social work.
Mm-hmm.
Say maybe at your church, or some hours, maybe 40 hours of social work at the YMCA, But that's easy.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to any church and say, I want to work socially, and they'll take that as hours of getting the 2 years of free college.
Mm-hmm. And it's something that most of our children don't take
know.
advantage of.
Well, a lot
because
of them
they just
don't know.
No.
That's right. And that's our job in 2017 to inform our people of what's going on.
But don't you remember back in the old days when we were in school, you had school counselors, and they talked to us about college. They steered us in direction of higher education. I wonder if they're talking about this program at these high schools, or what's really going on?
Well, it's kind of like we talked off camera last week. They're not talking about anything in high schools anymore, especially in Shelby County high schools. They talk about the police busing, basic stuff. They don't talk about curriculum and where you're going to go to college. I don't think. Do you?
I never hear about it. All I hear about is violence and hiring more police officers to patrol the schools, locking children up, placing the kids in alternative environments. We got a problem because we don't have leadership in these schools. As we can remember, for many, many years, every superintendent I know always had a plan.
Always.
An educational plan. If it was a Little Red Schoolhouse plan, or you're going to do whatever the curriculum might be, it's going to be expanded. They come on TV and talk about all these different educational plans. We never hear about anything.
All we hear about from the current superintendent that we have is how many schools we're going to close this year.
And that's a problem.
Okay, that's all we ever hear. We don't ever hear about you remember the $90 million of the Gates Foundation money? We don't ever hear about that.
Never.
What they're going to do and what new programs are being implemented in schools. We just hear about, well, this year we're closing Dunbar, this year we're closing Carnes, next year we're closing Carver, next year we're closing Northside, on and on. That's all we hear about.
Because
And in my mind, it's really agitating and irritating, and we're not getting anywhere in the school system. We're going backwards.
well, look what just happened today. Well, the Secretary of Education got confirmed.
Right.
She has already said that she's against public schools.
Against public.
She's all for charter schools, ASD schools, green dot school, blue dot schools, all different kind of schools, but not public education.
Our government is being turned upside down by the Trump administration people because they want to turn government into a business. And government's primary function is for the well-being of its citizens, not to make a profit. But these people have turned government on its head, and everybody's interested in making money, period. I mean, that's part of my take on it.
Well, we're going to have to wrestle our system back for the hands of those who would give it away.
Exactly.
And another year or so, we're going to have 2 seats coming available.
2.
That are right for the pickings in our neighborhoods. That we need to get people elected who think and feel the way we do. And all those jokers that are holding these seats, let this be advice to you. That either you will begin to listen to the will of the people, or the people are going to replace you. When people go down to the Board of Education by the hundreds, voice their opinion in the presence of the folks who make the vote, they already know before the session starts which way they're going to vote.
Exactly.
And we're just down there begging, pleading, screaming, got the little kids up at the podium begging and pleading for their school, and they already know what they're going to do before the meeting gets started.
I mean, if you look at how government works, and especially on the school board, since when do you remember that the superintendent runs the school? When we were coming up 10, 15 years ago, the superintendent took his orders from the board.
That's right.
So now the roles are reversed. All we hear about is the superintendent said. The superintendent is going to cut X, Y, and all the board does is vote on whatever he recommends.
It's a classic example of the tail wagging the dog.
That's right. That's right.
The dog's supposed to wag the tail.
That's right.
The superintendent is simply an employee
An employee.
to the board. The bottom line is, you've got the board members there. It should be their responsibility to establish policy.
Exactly.
The superintendent's job is to carry the policy out. not to be a spokesperson on TV, but to carry the policy out and to make sure that everybody administratively are doing their job. You go to these high schools, elementary schools, and middle schools, and especially in elementary school, they can't even teach children anymore how to curse right. If a teacher is caught teaching a child how to write his name in cursive, as it were, you could be fired. So all they do is teach them how to print their name. How do you sign a check? You print your name or do you write your name?
I mean, when you sign a check, it should be in script.
It should be.
It should be.
But these kids are not getting the opportunity.
Nowhere in America are you going to go and sign a check in print.
Unless something's wrong with you.
You can't go get a driver's license. You can't get a social security card if you don't know how to script.
And that's a major problem. So we have to capture the school board again. Capture it. And we have to start over. We were dealt a dirty blow.
Dirty blow.
When they consolidated the city and the county schools. I don't care what they say. That was a bad decision. And we're reaping the bad benefits of it. We have kids falling through the cracks. Teachers are having to operate with less. And we're creating an underclass of kids from the word go, from elementary, middle to high school. And they get to the point where kids don't really have the social behavior. They don't have the intellectual qualities in place. And they don't have the educational benefits. So what happens is teachers began to socially promote and graduate kids right out of high school. And if they don't have everything that's required, they don't even get a diploma, even though they're there, and even though they march across the stage, they end up with a certificate of completion or certificate of attendance. Where are you going to go with that?
So, what you said earlier, and I think about what Trump did on Friday. They put Iran on notice. So what we're doing effectively here today is those two people that hold those seats that's coming up in 2 years, we're putting you on notice effective today that we're coming after the seat.
Absolutely. And what happens is if you capture the board, then they will tell the superintendent what to do. The board has one employee, and that's their school superintendent.
You know, and I'm going to call a name because it really, really bothered me back when it happened last year when we had school board member Mike Connell, when he was just adamant about closing car, as if he knew something about car. Didn't know anything about it. He was like, I'd be doggone. In fact, he cursed if it stays open.
Well, he's one of the
So
ones
those
that's on
kind
the
of
list.
things, like him, and I'm calling his name. He's
All right.
the guy that we're going to take out.
Got to take it out because we have to get the balance of power. We got to get 7 members on the board.
Correct.
And we need 5 members who are going to see it the way we see it. And those 2 seats that are up, Mike Connell being one, we're coming after him. We've got to get a good candidate so that we can defeat him. So we'll have our voices. And at that point, if the other 3 members on the board that are favorable towards what we're working on, then they can speak truth to power and put the superintendent in his place. And in fact, if the superintendent doesn't want to cooperate,
Then he gets fired.
you fire him
He gets fired.
and you move on.
Bottom line.
So at any point in time, on any political body, you're going to have 1 or 2 people that are really running things. You're going to have 1 or 2 people that the chief operator is listening to. We know who these folks are. But 5 trumps 4 every day.
Every day. Every day.
So we're going to have to be able to get the number of people that we need and be serious about it. And if there's any person out there that you love education, you're just as displeased with it as we are, then you need to give us a call. More importantly, write us a letter and let us know that you want to join the team. You can write us at the Grant Brothers, P.O. Box 234, Memphis, Tennessee 38103. And we're serious about it because we've got to move forward.
And as a people, we got to get out of the notion of not being serious about our business, but they're serious about their business.
Absolutely.
So when our people get elected, we got to get away from the fact that I got to go along to get along. So
There it is again.
if it means hardship and stress in order to promote the agenda from where you came, so be it.
Well, we're going to get political, and now's the time. And 2018 is upon us. Sooner than you think. It'll be here in no time flat. So we're now preparing, putting together our plan of action to move the agenda forward. Part of that 500-man coalition is going to be a part of the movement. Whether you are a regular voter or you need to get registered to vote or whatever it is, now is the time. Because you say so many times about political power. It's not enough just to have numbers, but you've got to have muscle.
Got to have the muscle.
And the politics gives you the muscle to move the agenda.
Look at what we're dealing with on a national level today with the Trump situation. That should be a wake-up call for all of us, for all people of color across this country. Is anything can change overnight if you got the numbers and the muscle. Okay? So we can sit back and think we're secure and this, and we got this amendment and we got this right. All this stuff can change overnight. Look what happened to the Muslim ban. Overnight, all that stuff changed. Just because with the stroke of a pen. Okay? So we gotta look at this stuff and see it for what it's worth. It's power in numbers. In the city of Memphis, we have the numbers.
Speaking of which, the Mayor Jim Strickland has a program called Adopt a Block.
Right.
Get busy with that. We're going to have our mentors program. It's going to take a variety of involvement in order to meet the challenge of the problems that we face. Not one individual has all the answers, but collectively we can figure out the problems in this city and move forward. Education is one. Homelessness is another. Mentorship is number 3. Those are the 3 that we're going to take on.
We can't, by no means, forget voter registration. By no means.
At the top of the list in the political arena, that we've got to have voters registration. You're going to find that they're going to start purging the files.
Right.
Trump has already started it with this national investigation. Dead people on the roads, people with duplicate registrations. We don't have that problem. We don't have any dead people on the road, but people die every day.
Every day.
And when your mama died, you're not calling the Shelby County Election Commission saying my mama just died, take her name off the roll. Who does that?
It's a process.
Right. So if you miss 2 presidential elections, that's your process.
That's your process.
That's 8 years. If you don't vote in 8 years, then the Shelby County Election Commission is going to take your name off the roll.
Period.
Dead or alive. So we don't have people getting out of the graves coming to vote. That's not true. But there are deceased people on the road because people don't, that's not a call we make. It just isn't. But if you miss 2 federal elections, then your name will automatically come off the roll. So, as you said, with voters registration, we got to be in a position to replace those that are coming off.
Absolutely. And it's important. And no matter what people tell you, and I have people that tell me on a regular basis that politics does not have anything to do with your life. It has everything to do with it. Don't let anybody fool you. It's like the young man that was on the show last week, and he was like, nobody really cares. Well, they don't if you can't vote.
Mhm.
In truth.
That's right.
If you can't vote and they know it, it don't matter. What do I have to ask you anything for? I have nothing to gain with dealing with a person that can't vote or don't vote.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So it's going to take, our involvement is going to take some money. We're going to have to raise money to get the voters registration rolls back up.
Back up.
It's not enough to have the largest numbers in the city and the county without that.